things are getting pretty horrific surrounding this coronavirus. So I'm always one of these people who says, like, don't panic until it's time to panic, because the time that you've wasted worrying, you don't get it back on the other end. Okay, but I will say that this is starting to look not so great. But good news, our media are on the case, guys. They are on the case. And so I bring to you this headline from CNN Politics. Are you ready for this? So it's a picture of President Trump and his coronavirus task force. And it is placed above a picture of Barack Obama and his Ebola task force. The headline from CNN: Coronavirus task force, another example of Trump administration's lack of diversity. I'm not kidding you. This is not a parody. CNN is complaining that the people on the coronavirus task force are not diverse enough. Because that's what I want. Right? I mean, I know that it's like, oh God, we have a coronavirus world health emergency. Get me 3 black guys, a Native American, and a transgender little person right now. Stat. We need those people in here right now. They have medical degrees. I don't care. We need diversity in this room, damn it. I don't need any medical expertise. All those white doctors, you tell them to go straight to hell. You know what I need in this room? I need diversity in my coronavirus task force. I need RuPaul in here. Get RuPaul here now. Now. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong? How's that even a headline? What is wrong with you? CNN says it's a statement that's as predictable as it is infuriating. President Donald Trump's administration lacks diversity. On Tuesday, Trump tweeted photos of a briefing he'd received on the new coronavirus spreading out of China. We will continue to monitor the ongoing developments, the president said in his post. We have the best experts anywhere in the world, and they are on top of it 24/7. Who are these experts? They're largely the same sorts of white men and a couple women on the sidelines who have dominated the Trump administration from the very beginning. Now, nowhere in this article does it actually explain which of these people is not an expert. It's just assumed that because they're white, they can't be experts. And white men. By contrast, former President Barack Obama's circle of advisors in the face of the 2014 Ebola outbreak in West Africa was hardly so monochromatic. Neither was it so abysmal in terms of gender diversity. This is the worst piece ever written. We have discovered it. We need to frame it. We need to put it in the Hall of Fame. We need to gild it in gold. This is the worst piece ever written over at CNN. And yet, as unsurprising as the diversity issue in the Trump era has become, it's still worth pointing out from time to time, especially as the country approaches the 2020 presidential election in earnest. That's partly because of the recent photos of the best experts telegraph the kinds of people the administration deems worthy of holding power. What? This person was dropped on the head as a baby. Brandon Tensley, I don't know what happened to you, sir. Please seek medical attention ASAP from the diverse doctor of your choice. Please. Your hot take is that the doctors who are trying to solve the coronavirus problem are too white. That's your hot take. You're looking for some rip on Trump, and it's like, oh, well, you know, all these doctors he's got here talking about how to stop a global pandemic. He needs in here right now the cast of Project Runway. Get them in here right the hell now. Like, what? Okay, speaking of stupid media coverage. So, ASAP Science. Okay, this person put out a video. We know that he is supposedly intelligent because he's wearing glasses. That's pretty much our only indicator. He did a video called Coronavirus and Racism. Now, here's the thing. He's about to claim that if you think that it's a bad idea to eat a bat, it's because you're a racist. Our media, the people on the left. What is wrong with you? Can't they just say it's a bad idea to eat a bowl of bat soup? It's a bad idea. Like, I understand that you're all bat bleep, but can you just, like, really? Come on. Okay, let's listen to this idiot for a second.
We live in Toronto, where the SARS virus got world-scale attention. That's because the only people who died outside of Asia from that virus were in Canada, and most of them were in Toronto. With only 44 people dying in total in Canada, it had a huge impact on our city. We lost a lot of tourism, we lost millions of dollars, but most importantly, we saw a lot of stigma and racism towards Chinese people. It's important that we do not repeat those racist notions that happened here in Toronto, and we all need to be aware of this when we talk about the current coronavirus. On our social media channels, we have seen lots of people saying things like, this always happens in China, and relating it a lot to the types of foods that Chinese people eat. But it's important to remember that Western food practices are what created mad cow disease, and also Western meat consumption has created a big issue with antibiotic resistance.
Okay, well,
we need to listen to and trust.
Okay. Why is that important to remember? Exactly. Like, why? It turns out that the last several global pandemics have come from outside the West, right? We've had Ebola, which happened in Africa, and then we've had SARS, which happened in China, and then we've had this, which happened in China. I believe MERS started in China as well. And that has nothing to do with Chinese people being Chinese. It has to do with don't eat a frickin' bat. Right? I'm not the person, by the way, saying don't eat a frickin' bat. That would be like every scientist you know. Don't eat bats, gang. You rip on American meat consumption? Okay, here's the thing about domesticated animals. Typically, domesticated animals have had a lot of disease bred out of them for years, and there may be other problems associated with it. But you know what's one problem that's not associated with that? The wild diseases you get from eating like a meerkat. Like, it turns out that when you eat weird animals, bad crap can happen. And listen, I'm a person with one of the most religiously restrictive diets on the planet, right? I keep kosher, which means that we think pigs are exotic. But if you think that you are going to, like, take a chomp out of a cobra, and this is somehow a great idea, and that it's racist for me to say that somehow it's racist for me to say, please, do not go into the forest and tear that lemur off a tree and just take a chunk. Please don't do that. If that's racist, what does that have to do with being Chinese? It has to do with cultural practices that involve eating wild animals that, by the way, the Chinese government is trying to ban right now. Okay, so if it's racist, then why is the Chinese government trying to ban it? Last I checked, the Chinese government is Chinese and filled with Chinese people. But apparently, the Chinese government is now racist against Chinese people because they're saying, please, don't eat the frickin' bat. Like, this is wild. CNN reporting, in Western markets, suppliers can buy beef, chicken, pork, and if they're lucky, perhaps some duck or bison. But the options in China can be a bit more exotic. Vendors in small city markets often sell wild animals, including rodents, yak, snakes, and even porcupines. And experts say that makes them far more dangerous. The meat could contain deadly pathogens like the coronavirus. CNN, racist. If you say that guy should not eat a porcupine, it's because you hate the Chinese. Breaking news. It's amazing. Racism is everything now. Okay, it's not racist to say don't eat the frickin' bat. It's not racist to say, you know that rat crawling around in your attic? Please do not pull it down and roast it over a spit and take a chomp. Everybody loosen up a little bit because you're making the world a stupider place. Like, each and every day a stupider place. Donald Trump's task force is not diverse enough. It's racist to say now that if you go to the LA Zoo and you take a walk around and you see it as a dinner menu, that maybe this is a bad idea. What in the... You know what, honestly, maybe the coronavirus should come for us all. Maybe we've reached that point. Maybe it's just time, guys.